You don't belong here.
That's what my boss said to me. In front of the investors.
Okay, so this is a story about what happens when cold, hard data goes head-to-head with pure arrogance in the boardroom. It's really about integrity and what happens when the truth backed by numbers just can't be ignored anymore. It all kicks off with these 4 words. I mean, just imagine hearing that. It's a direct, personal, and pretty brutal challenge to your very right to be in a room where you've absolutely earned your place. This line, it's the spark that ignites the whole thing. And yeah, get this. This wasn't whispered in a hallway. It was said right there, in front of the investors. You know, the people who literally hold the company's future in their hands. The humiliation was designed to be public, and the stakes just could not be higher. And make no mistake, this was no accident. The smirk, the volume, it was a calculated power play. It was designed to diminish her, to dismiss her in one single cruel move. But this is where the story gets really good. This is the moment the tables are about to turn. Despite that public takedown, this story is far from over. In fact, the real story is just getting started, and it's not the one he thinks he's in control of. So let's back up a little and set the stage. Because to really understand the climax, you have to know about the incredible amount of preparation that was happening in the shadows, completely uncredited, long before this meeting even began. This wasn't just any meeting. This was the big one, the annual investor meeting. We're talking quarterly performance, the whole expansion plan, a huge board vote. Everybody who mattered, from the CEO to the major stakeholders, was in that room. 6 months. Just let that number sink in for a second. Half a year. That's the amount of time and personal sacrifice that was poured into the strategy they were about to see. It's a ton of effort that nobody in that room besides her even knew about. And what does 6 months of that kind of work actually look like? Well, it looks exactly like this. It's the late nights, the weekends you don't get back, and this part is so crucial. It's quietly correcting the very numbers your boss just waves away. This is about a commitment to being right, not just being in charge. So after all that dedication, all that unseen work, what's her reward? This title. He framed her as a minor player, someone just there to help out, all while planning to present her entire strategy as his own. The battle lines are drawn, her actual competence versus his story about it. All right, so now we get to the moment it all goes down. This is the inciting incident where everything that was bubbling under the surface just explodes out into the open for everyone to see. She barely gets her first sentence out before he leans back, laughs, and interrupts her. The message couldn't be clearer. He's saying, her contribution is worthless, a waste of time for the important people in the room. Here's where things get really interesting. While everyone else is watching her, expecting her to shrink, she notices the CEO isn't looking at her at all. He's watching her boss. And that's a subtle but huge shift. Because real leaders, they don't just watch the presentation. They watch the presenter. They're looking for character. And that one small observation leads us right here. The boss's overconfidence has made him sloppy, and his perfect facade is about to crack under just the tiniest bit of pressure. So he's up there, clicking through her work, but he's cherry-picking. He's skipping right over the risk analysis, the tricky acquisition clauses, the red flags from the audit. He thought no one would ever notice. He was presenting a fantasy, believing he was the only one who knew the real story. But then someone does notice. An investor asks the one question he wasn't ready for. This single, simple request for a little more detail is the catalyst that's about to unravel his entire deception. And for just a split second, he freezes. It was so small, almost imperceptible, but it was enough. The CEO saw it. That tiny little crack was all the confirmation he needed that this whole thing was unstable. Under pressure, the truth always finds a way out. The CEO's command is just absolute. He completely overrides the boss, cuts right through his excuses, and hands control of the presentation and the whole narrative directly to the person who actually knows what's going on. The power in the room has just officially changed hands. Okay, now we're at the climax. This is the moment of truth, where opinions and charisma become totally irrelevant. The objective, unvarnished data is about to take center stage. And there it is, side by side for everyone to see. The contrast is just devastating. His story of inflated numbers versus the real story of hidden losses. The risks he conveniently left out, the deals he pushed through without the right approvals. The numbers do not lie. This is the great equalizer. You can fake charisma, but you can't fake data. And you can just feel it, right? The kind of silence that's louder than any argument. It's the sound of a false narrative completely shattering, of investors realizing they've been misled, and of a bully's authority just evaporating into thin air.
So, after a bombshell like that, what happens next?
Well, the consequences are swift, they're decisive, and they are formal. This section is all about the immediate fallout and the official transfer of authority.
With the real data still glowing on the screen as undeniable proof, the CEO makes the call. This isn't just validating her work, it's a public transfer of power. The person who supposedly didn't belong is now in charge.
And the aftermath is just methodical. The board votes to suspend him. She's formally appointed as the interim director of strategy. And the reason for all of it? He can't argue with the facts. The data, her data, has spoken, and the outcome is final. We're ending on what might be the most important part, the core lesson from this whole encounter. Because it's not really about revenge, it's got a fundamental truth about power, about perception, and about belonging. And this is the final thought to leave you with. The attempt to exclude someone is often not a judgment of their incompetence, but a fear of their potential. That line, "You don't belong here," can sometimes be the clearest sign that you are exactly where you need to be.